Welcome back to the Spiritually Wired podcast. We have a beautiful conversation for you today. It is with Jen Axe. Jen is an embodied leadership coach. She is a TEDx speaker. She is the author of Your Body is Speaking. And so this conversation is all about moving beyond mindset into what she calls your Bodyset, which is the intelligence of your body and how reconnecting with your body and all of the wisdom that it holds is life changing. We talk about three specific types of intelligence: your kinesthetic intelligence, your emotional intelligence, and your somatic intelligence. Jen also shares with us a very practical tool that you can use in the moment whenever you feel yourself shift into a more contractive phase or contractive emotions, whether they're fear or doubt or anxiety, and how you can use this tool to shift into a more expansive state. She shares as well her powerful journey, her own personal transformational journey to where she is today, and why she feels so passionate about sharing this message. I hope you enjoy this conversation. Hi, I'm Renee Walker, a mindset mentor, speaker, and lover of all things spiritual. I believe that at our core, we are all spiritually wired for love, peace, success, and abundance. Here on the podcast, we're diving into mindset, wellness, and business, but always through a spiritual lens. Let's just say we're going deep, but we're keeping it light. So let's elevate your life from the inside out, one conversation at a time. Welcome to Spiritually Wired. Welcome to the podcast, Jen. I am so looking forward to our conversation today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Well, Jen, one of the big things that you talk about is body set versus mindset. So I would love to go straight into it. And if you can share with us what the difference is and why connecting with the concept of body set is so important.
Thank you for this question. This is to me the most important work that we could be doing, because we come in to this world whole, connected with our mind and our body, unapologetic and free and in our highest self. That is our soul. That is who we are. That is our essence, and it is our truth. And as life happens and as influences create the path for us to take, we're told who to be and how to be and what to wear and what to believe in and what schools to go to and all the things. And a lot of that guidance is well intended. Well, much of it. I don't know if all of it is, but a lot of it is. And so we create this through that journey. This disconnect happens between our mind and our body. All of a sudden, we're conditioned to believe that we're something when maybe we're really something else. And so that is the natural human experience. And so that disconnect between mind and body creates this confusion. And it is essential in order for us to live the life we want, and to live the life that we deserve, and to be happy and confident and stand up for what we believe in and make the impact that we are meant to. We have to bring the mind and the body back together to live whole, to live holistically, to live from a grounded, knowing self. And so it's very layered, this inner wisdom, this body set that I'm trying to bring people back into, because the mind is one thing. It's logical, it's thoughtful, it's, we analyze up here and we sort through all of these pressures and external expectations. But the body has this ancient wisdom. It's that wisdom that we were born with that I mentioned. It's that knowing, that gut. And we're not taught how to listen to it. So my work is all about bridging and bringing back together these two essential parts of ourselves so that we can live the life that we're meant to.
I so appreciate the way that you speak about it, because you really bring a tangible, when I listen to you and I listen to your words, I resonate to what you are saying and what can be a very sometimes confusing. And you
Yeah.
used the word confusion, which I think is the perfect word to
Yeah.
use. But it can feel very confusing as to what does it actually mean to be in
Yeah.
your body. I know
Right.
some people are listening and they're like, well, what are you talking about? I'm living in my body. I can
Right.
feel it.
Right.
Yet there's a difference between, being in your body and truly being embodied. So where
Yeah.
does someone start to actually bridge that connection?
Yeah. It's such a good question because being in the body is one thing, but like you said, this distinction is listening to the body,
Mm.
really learning how to listen to the body's wisdom, the intelligence that rests within us. And I will just insert right here because it's so important, and then I'll get to where does someone begin. I actually think it's right here with the education, because some people, and I get it, are like, oh, okay, being in the body, like, what is that really? And is that woo woo? And, is that something out here that that's not tangible? But the reality is it is. There are multiple forms of intelligence within us that we all have. And three of them, I've really collected over the years a lot of research, different people that have studied the different forms of intelligence: Howard Gardner, Daniel Goleman, Amy Cuddy. There's like a lot, right? And I've distilled it down to about 11 forms, but three of which I highlight because it really speaks to what we're talking about right here, which is somatic intelligence, emotional intelligence, and kinesthetic intelligence. And the starting point is really knowing that this is real. This is tangible. There's literature, there's books, there's lectures, there's professors out there that teach this stuff. So I've collected it to bring it to the world in a way that people can understand. And so I'll just mention here with these three. And like I said, there's 9 others, 9, 10, 11. There's eight others, right? Do the math. That I can also mention. And there's just this breadth of research that I want people to be empowered by. So somatic is that gut knowing. It is that wisdom that's like, okay, when you walk into a room and you feel like something is off and you know it because your body tells you, it's that we have that like gut instinct. A lot of people turn away from it and ignore it. And I invite, let's pay attention and listen to it. Right? It's that it's that knowing of this relationship is no longer serving me. And I know it, but my head is taking me out because I'm afraid, because it's safe, because I'm comfortable, because we have kids and how could I, or whatever it is. But your gut is like, this is no longer working for me, whether it's your
Mhm.
job or a relation, or it is working for me. It's the same thing. Like, oh my God, I am lit up. I am happy. I am excited. Well, then it's right. So it's that somatic deep knowing, and that is real. And then there's kinesthetic intelligence, which is the physical body's ability to help us navigate life. Like people with high kinesthetic intelligence are athletes, dancers, musicians, speakers, um, artists, using your hands, using your body to navigate the world. Um, then the emotional intelligence, which is a huge bucket. And there are 5 pillars to emotional intelligence, but I'll just briefly say, in summary, it is our ability to hear and manage and understand and navigate our own emotions and be able to have that awareness of other people's emotions. And people with this intelligence at a heightened level are coaches and teachers and therapists and, you know, parents. It's all the things like emotional connection and awareness. So Everybody has all three. And it's about how do we listen? How do we tap in? So when you ask, where would I start? I think people need to be educated that the body's wisdom is a real thing. So that the first step of pausing, when we pause, when we're feeling the angst, when we're feeling the doubt, when we're feeling the comparison or the confusion that we were talking about, the pause is the first step. The pause, getting quiet to listen to that voice. It's this invisible wisdom that people are not paying attention to. So the first step would be to pause and to just get
Mhm.
quiet. And if people do that, and really start to pay attention, they're doing so much more than most people. And I could
Yeah.
go on because I actually have like a sequence, that's very tangible and people can do it in less than like 5 minutes, and we can talk about that. But that would be the first place, becoming educated to really get behind yourself. It's like, when people say, I want to believe in that cause, but I need to educate myself about it so I can stand up and voice my opinion for whatever the cause is. Well, your cause is your body. Your cause is your life. Your cause is your happiness. So educate yourself about these different forms of intelligence and then pause and start paying
Mhm.
attention and listening.
I think it's so important too. And I love that we're having more of these conversations because to see it as these are actual forms of intelligence, but we
Yeah,
just in our society have not we've undervalued them
totally.
in such a big way and
Yeah.
put all of the emphasis on more of our IQ or how do you what kind of intelligence is that when it's actually
Mathematical,
using
logical.
yes, the
Right.
logical piece to it. It is what's been valued the most. So it
Right.
is a unlearning and
Yeah.
a being in a place of holding value to it. And I think for so many, especially, women who are listening, we tend to naturally be very emotionally intelligent and very connected more to our
Yes.
bodies naturally. We just disconnect from it, as you said.
Disconnect, and we're not taught that it's valuable.
Mhm.
We're
Mhm.
also just not taught. Like, yes, the disconnection, it's like that happens, right? But it's like, if someone just told us from the very beginning that this maternal wisdom is so real and please don't turn away from it because it's your guiding light, life would be really different. We're not taught the importance of it. And I often wonder why. Are
Mhm.
people just not educated, or are like teachers and or is the world just not educated, or is this a intentional thing to like quiet the woman, quiet because it's threatening because it is so powerful.
Yeah, and that's where my money's going. The more that we learn about it, right? The more that it just it we have been quieted. We've
Yeah,
learned to not only like not listen, but actually not trust it,
not trust.
which is so big and why your work is so incredibly important, Jen, that
Thank
you are
you.
doing.
Thank you.
Now, when you were speaking about somatic intelligence, so my mind is going to, okay, this sounds very much like your intuition. So
Hmm.
is there a difference, or would you say that, sometimes in this work, we all use different terms, different words, so it can be a little confusing. Would you say
Yeah.
that your intuition is part of your somatic intelligence, or is that different?
No, I definitely think that intuition is part of that somatic intelligence, and I think they're synonymous. I do think
Right.
intuition is synonymous with that somatic wisdom. I do think there's a difference though between the heart, like in my I feel like there's the mind, there's the heart, and there's the gut. And they're almost like three different brains. And so the heart, when we're feeling so big, I'm not sure I would call that. Part of that is intuition, but we do need to discern because the heart can really just take over. And if we lead with the heart without pausing and really then going deeper into the gut to be like, okay, like for example, That sounds really good. Someone presents something and says, I could get you, create success for you and take you to this level and oh my God, I get so, my heart is like beating and I'm so happy and this sounds amazing. And then I have to pause and really listen. Do I trust this person? Were they genuine? Like, what is that deeper? So the intuition kind of flows, I feel, between all three. And that's why that pause is so important. So we can really discern where is that energy of moving forward with the person, with the job, with the relationship, with the move, whatever the thing is. Where's it coming from? Is it the head? Is it the heart? Is it the gut? So to really figure out where, and then lead from that place. But so often we might feel like, oh, this is my intuitive, I'm just going to go. So if this is making any sense, I think that there's intuition that like flows through us, and specifically with the heart and the gut, because I don't think the head is really a part of the intuitive piece, because the head really has been hijacked and conditioned. It's more like that logical. But I feel like the heart and the gut, they share that intuition, and we still need to pause and figure out where's that voice coming from? Is it being led by the heart or is it being led by the gut? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And then the purpose, the intention is for all three of them. Like, because the logical
Yes.
mind, I mean, it does play a role
Oh,
sometimes, like you
absolutely.
actually, when it comes to taking the action and doing the thing. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
about not maybe making one more important than the other, but
Exactly.
really working to integrate them so that they
That's
can
right.
work cohesively as a whole. And when I think of intuition, I mean, personally, I see it as you are connected to your higher power as well. So
Yes.
there's that kind of playing into it.
Yeah, totally.
And then how does it resonate and land in your body? But I love what you're saying, because I have been in situations where my heart feels like super expansive and I'm ready to like say yes.
Right.
And then when I actually say yes, I feel completely different in my body. And that may be a sign of capacity too, right? So
Yeah,
maybe, yes, this seems like an incredible thing to do. And when I check in with my body, I don't have the capacity for it right now. And
exactly.
so that is this is such an
Exactly.
important, it's helping me a lot too with that discernment, because there are times, and I'm
Mhm.
sure people that are listening can remember, but it felt so light and fun. And yet at the same time, it added a level of stress
Yeah.
that only taxed my nervous system and my physical body in ways that was not necessarily for my higher good.
100%. I love that so much because I mean, I'm in that season right now. Like, there's a lot of possibility. Oh, I'd love to collaborate with you, Jen. This is so good. Let's do this collaborate. I'm talking about business right now. And all of that is amazing. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I'm meeting incredible people that want to create these beautiful partnerships. And that's my heart. And it is a full yes. And when I pause and body set which is hand on your heart, stomach, and close your eyes, when I body set, it's like, yes, that is my heart leading, and my gut is like, not right now. It is not
Mhm.
right now. That is not going to serve you right now. So there's another way to say yes. It's yes, and maybe in X amount of time, or yes, and let's make a plan for, let's reconnect in 3 months, or, and that's where that's where the strength comes in. Because when we pause and then when we realize, okay, it is a yes, it is a full body yes, but there's another part to that. And that's where the power comes in. That's where we reclaim our power to be
Mhm.
like, to make decisions from a grounded place, as opposed to just yes, 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 which is what I have that in me totally. But being so connected to my gut, to that somatic wisdom, I'm now training myself to really create that pause and then say yes, but from a grounded, practical place that makes sense, that will keep my body, you know, in control of.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm just like out here, like, and it can be overwhelming. Does that make sense? And
It
that's off
makes
of what you were
no,
saying.
I connect in so many different ways, and I feel, it's interesting because from a spiritual perspective, when and I'm speaking on a personal level, when I'm feeling super connected, like you're saying, so many opportunities are coming at you. There's an abundance of, and
Right.
it feels great. And
Yeah,
then that's when I can find myself saying yes to too many things that eventually lead to more of a burnout. And then I'm like, okay, I'm back
exactly.
in that same cycle. So it
Right.
makes so much sense to really pay attention. And you mentioned that you had some steps that you can help
Yes.
us. So what does that look like
Yes. I'm so
from a
glad you brought me
practical
back to that.
perspective? Yes.
So my practice is called the power of gesture, and it's a body set practice using the hands to awaken the internal wisdom, the somatic, the emotional, and the kinesthetic intelligence inside of us so that we can hear it, really start to understand it, and then be led by it. So what I want to say before I get to the steps is explaining this because it's something we talked about at the beginning about the brain and the body being that disconnect and the importance of bridging the two and bringing them into alignment. That's what the hands do. So without getting too scientific, the hands and the brain have this incredible relationship. There is this tissue that goes on the outer layer of the brain. It's called cortical tissue. And cortical tissue is responsible for our logical thinking, for our ability to break down information, to analyze, to discern, and then to make decisions that come from that grounded, logical, practical place. Well, cortical tissue is given to different body parts in different amounts. The hands have more cortical tissue than any other body part. So the hands are given this tremendous responsibility that the world doesn't really know that much about because we're not talking about this, right? We come in using our hands and gesturing as babies and da-da. There's a reason for that. I mean, I'm doing it all the time. I'm gesturing. We all are because it's part of our language. It's part of how we process. Like, again, I'm doing it right now unintended, but I'm so aware of gesture because this is my practice that this helps. Like, moving through and da da da. So the hands really assist us in our communication and our understanding of decisive reasoning and analyzing information. Okay, so that's one piece. The hands also have thousands of nerve endings that are collecting data from our emotions, our sensations, and the environment around us all day long. And so that emotional information is being sent to the brain on a feedback loop like this all day long, all day long, all day long. Okay, so we've got the hands responsible for the logical mind and the hands responsible for the emotional body. That's where mindset, Bodyset comes into play. And so the hands are the bridge. The hands help us close that gap. So this is what that looks like. When we feel something in my practice, right? It's like, oh, I'm feeling anxious. Okay, well, your hands are collecting that data. So I encourage the gesture to be created for that energy. So for example, if it's anxiety, maybe your hands are in a fist and they're
Mhm.
shaking. So you're embodying the angst. You're honoring the angst. You're not saying, God, I wish I didn't feel this way. Why am I feeling this way? She doesn't feel this way. I'm less than, whatever it is. Like we're always trying to push away. This practice invites it in. So you embody whatever the energy is. If you're feeling self-doubt, maybe you put your hands on your head and you contract inward. The thing I want to highlight is when we're in those moments like doubt, fear, shame, question, our gestures tend to contract. So we can just think about something that the energy that contracts. Okay. So we're collecting that data and we're embodying it with our hands. Then we use that part of the hands, that logical piece, to help us shift into something that serves us. So I invite a a visualization in this moment. Imagine a time when you felt empowered, excited, joyful, alive. This is where the mindset piece comes in. We use our visualization. We create an image, whether it's real or not, because the brain doesn't know the difference. So we can call on a memory or we can create one. So we're here in that contraction. We use our mind to imagine a place of that joy. I was just walking my dog this morning, so I can think about that. Then you embody that emotion, that energy with your hands. So with those emotions, our hands and our bodies expand. So it's this play between contraction and expansion. Now, when we're in that expansion, that's the data that then gets sent to the brain. So essentially the hands they're collecting and interrupting this story that we continue to send to our brain. I suck, I'm doubtful, I'm not good enough, all that. We're now honoring it, but then shifting it to then send the accurate data to our brain. And that's what goes on a feedback loop all day long. And when we do it more and more, we get our power back. We're rewiring what we're conditioned to do and believe. So the practice is called Bodyset to reset using the power of gesture. So what that looks like is when we feel something, the angst, the fear, all that, body set right away. We just hand on your heart, hand on your belly, close your eyes. So we're in that body set position. Reset is the acronym for this practice. R in this body set position is recognize. So, right, you're doing it with me. I love it. So we recognize what we're feeling and where we're feeling it. There's no judgment. It's love. It's support. It's honoring. Okay, I feel you, angst. Fine. And I feel it in my heart, let's say. I'm feeling it in my heart. Okay. So that's R. E is embody the energy, gesture number 1. So let's just say my heart is going like this because I'm just like feeling anxious. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling, okay, fine. I'm doing that. S is C. See that visual. See yourself calm. See yourself on your yoga mat. See yourself having a glass of wine on the couch. See yourself with a girlfriend, whatever it is. So I see that. And then the next E is embody, gesture number 2. My hand just naturally, I'm just going out here. I'm moving it out. So I'm joyful. Okay, I bring it back. If I want to embody it again, and then out. And then T is transform. You just transformed the energy. So body set to reset. R, recognize. E, embody with the first gesture. S, see yourself in the calm place, in the happy place, in the liberated place. E, embody that energy with the second gesture. And T is transform. And I have it written on a PDF, and I'm going to give it to you so you could give it to your people.
Oh, so good. This is really helpful. It reminds me of a practice of self-compassion and with the body. So using the body to actually affirm what's happening and also using your body as a way to shift and to transform. This is so
Kinesthetic
powerful.
intelligence.
Love, love, love. And I'm
Like,
very
if you notice,
kinesthetic
I'm sorry to
too.
interrupt. I'm sorry to draw. I just want to say we've activated all 3 forms of intelligence.
Mhm.
Kinesthetic,
Mhm.
we're using our hands. Emotional, it's our emotions. Somatic, it's that gut knowing. So it's all in there, and we're activating and elevating these intelligence systems within us. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, so okay, so the questions I would have is so if you're someone who experiences anxiety regularly more,
Yeah.
that's an emotion that you're more familiar with, then is the idea that you would have gestures. Do you have specific gestures for specific emotions that you end up using over and over again? Like, this represents my anxiety and this. So yes, right. You come
Yeah.
back to it and then you
Yes.
do it as often as, or as long as you feel your body needs in order to transform, to experience the opposite emotion that you're wanting to invite in.
Exactly. So you essentially you create a gesture vocabulary for yourself. You're
Mhm.
creating this universal language, which by the way, everybody has, right? We all have these emotions. And so how we interpret and feel these emotions is different based on our own life experience. So I don't create the gestures for people. I also want to be clear on this. I guide them into their own gestures,
Mhm.
right? So you are creating a vocabulary for yourself that you can rely on. Now, with that said, the gestures change. Like we have to let them come in and out of our bodies and into our life, because I work with people that create this anxious gesture and then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, it's no longer there, but it's taken shape in a different way. So we embody that. So it's always shifting. So you have to be very flexible in this. However, you do have these gestures that you can call on as long as you need them. But there's one gesture in particular. I call it our source gesture. So it's our highest self. It's like we get to a place of like, what does that part of you look like and feel like? And right, we go into like really seeing, using the mind to see where were we in our highest self. And if we can't even remember, we'll create the image, right? From that place and that feeling, we create a source gesture. So I say this because going there first is really important to create the safety in our bodies that we need in order to then go and like embody the angst, embody the confusion, embody the whatever it is. So that source gesture is something that I rely on all the time and my clients rely on all the time, always coming back to that source. I've got you. It's almost like these different parts of us, this community inside of us. And then there's this highest self that's like, I got all you. It's kind of like the mama bear of all of them,
Mhm.
really holding space. So to your question, yes, on a like in a session, let's say, right? Someone might be, so they might have this doubtful, this shameful gesture, and then their source gesture, their arms are going out. And that might be their gesture mantra. I call it sort of a moving mantra. So they might use that for about a week. In the morning, at night, whenever they're feeling it, they stop and they do that play between that contraction and that expansion. And it might shift over the week or it might not. And then the next week, there's other things that we're talking about and we're feeling into. So if that answers your question, we keep track of the gestures and people can use them whenever they need them. And the beauty of this practice is that we're using our hands. So it's not like you have to go get a tool or something outside of yourself. Like you can just take a walk, or you can excuse yourself from the table and go to the restroom. You can do it before you stand on a stage or whatever. It's like so accessible. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it really is working with your body, and it's
Yep.
funny as you were talking uh, about the higher self
Hmm.
one, and I always feel like opening my arms, and
Yes.
then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's that Titanic gesture."
Yeah.
Like, I spoke about that recently with
Mm.
someone, and then I'm like, "Oh, it was with you, Jen, on your
Oh,
podcast."
that's so funny.
Remember, we created this new
Yeah.
Titanic gesture
Uh,
of having your heart open, because there is something so powerful about letting the energy move through your heart. We tend to resist it when
yeah.
there's anything that is more uncomfortable or anything that feels more disruptive. We
Yeah.
contract, as you said, and by contracting, we actually are holding it in. So, this is
Yeah.
so valuable to be intentional with what is my
Yeah.
body telling me and how can I release this emotion so that I
Yeah.
can let it move through. So important.
Yeah.
And you're also giving me permission to
Yeah.
talk with my hands, because I am a hand talker
Yes.
so much. And my daughter at one point, she's like, "Mom, you use your hands way too much." And
Oh,
I've been trying to not use my hands as much, and now thank you, Jen, you're giving me permission to use my hands as a part of who I am. I can feel the tingling in my hands too, and they're connected to your heart chakra. So it makes so
absolutely.
much sense when you're saying all of this. I love how it, like, different pieces of the puzzles click, right? They come together. And that's what I'm feeling with our conversation. Like all these little pieces of the puzzle are
Yeah.
coming together in such a beautiful way. And I know it's going to empower so many women who are listening. I'm curious, Jen, and usually we start with this, but I felt like I really wanted to get to the depth of the work that you do because it's so powerful for people. But what has been your own personal journey, your
Ooh.
transformational piece? What has learning to really be in your body, what has it changed for you?
Oh my God. So much.
I know you have a powerful story, so
I mean, so much. And I really want to make sure I land with, well, I'm just going to start with what happened to me uh, just in the last few days. Because, and then I'll talk about like my story a little bit. I'll give, context of how I got here, but doing the work that I'm doing. I realized when we were talking about this gesture, the arms are out and they're wide, and this is like, oh my God, and calling it in. Well, this weekend, I had a very profound experience where I thought this was my power, my source gesture. The hands are out. But this weekend, I realized that bending my knees and bringing my fists into my hips and grounding into the earth and like really letting myself roar is actually extremely powerful as well. And I just want to invite that for people because that expansion and that outward and that up here to like the universe and the energy and then going in and that's not contraction. It's just rooting into the earth. And my journey and this work continues to evolve. I thought my mindset and my body set were totally connected, and they have been. But what happened to me this past weekend unlocked so much in my like solar plexus area that it brought it together even more. So what I want to say is that this work is so deep. It continues to, there are so many layers that we can go when we're ready. So we just have to start. And then when we become the student of our own self, we go deeper and deeper and deeper. And it is really extraordinary. So anyway, so I just wanted to offer that to say it's on the heels of my story that I'm doing this work and it continues. And that's very exciting that there's more layers to explore. Like we are, we take classes and we do things to expand and get better at life. And yet we're not paying attention to the greatest education that we have, which is our own story. Our story is, in my opinion, the greatest asset we have. And when we become so strong in ourselves, everything becomes possible. So I'm very passionate about this work, as you can tell. Okay. So I'm just going to go back a little bit and say that I came into the world like everybody else, like we started talking about on this podcast, like alive and happy and free and in my body and all. And then my disconnection story started in the classroom because everything was presented through this logical, mathematical lens that I did not fit into. And it was just so confusing to me because everyone seemed like they were thriving and growing and, everyone was receiving all these accolades and pats on the back and celebrations because they were doing great in school and they did great on their SAT scores. That's all it was. That was the measure of intelligence when I was younger, and I didn't do well on any. I didn't fail, but I didn't do great. My grades were fine and the SAT scores were terrible. So I created this story about myself that I wasn't smart. And this story took a deep root in my body, just like all of us. It could be from our parents or someone saying you're gesturing too much, right? It's like these little things, they all add up and they create these somatic markers, as Antonio Damasio, a neuroscientist, says, and I talk about a lot in my work. These are markers that stay with you. Well, this one stayed with me for about 20 years. And I turned away from opportunities. I didn't step into my power, but yet I was connected to my body because I was a dancer. I didn't understand the power of it. Now I do. It's kinesthetic intelligence, but nobody was talking about that at that time. So I just continued to think I wasn't smart, I wasn't worthy, I wasn't good enough. And then in my late 20s, I got this incredible invitation to go to dinner with John F. Kennedy Jr. and his wife, because my boyfriend at the time, ironically, was a Harvard undergrad, Yale grad, which was so ridiculous. But it actually started opening me up to like, oh, there's more to life than grades and SAT scores. But anyway, we got this invitation because he was really good friends with JFK Jr. And I didn't go because I was still in that state of total shame and absolute doubt about who I was at that time. So he went off and did his thing. But it was that night that changed everything for me, because it was a choice that I made. Like, I'm done. And this is what I'm passionate about. This is why I want to help people say, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with that. I need to step into who I am. So let's learn who we are through, the power of gesture. So, but I didn't have the power of gesture at that time, but I just knew that I needed to change. I needed something to shift. So I wound up in therapy for a while, and then I found this woman. She was a professor, and she taught me about the multiple forms of intelligence. And that's where I learned about Howard Gardner, who was a Harvard professor who taught lectures, has written a million books about this. And I was like, oh my God. Like, there's many ways to learn. There's many ways to be. There are many ways to be successful. There's many ways. And so his work at that time, he listed 8 of them. And I went really deep in to all of them. And I was like, oh my God, this is like life-changing. And then I wound up teaching for an organization, teaching children curriculum through the arts, through the body. I did this for 18 years. And it's a nonprofit that I will always work with because they changed my life. Because while I was empowering these children and teaching these teachers, because I became a trainer, you can imagine, I was like, oh my God, everybody needs to learn kinesthetically. Everybody needs to bring their emotion into it, because we can find that emotional intelligence inside of curriculum when we do it right. We can get attached to history. We can get attached to different subjects when it's taught through the body. So anyway, that chapter happened, and I healed, and I became empowered with this body of work. And then COVID hit and everything shut down. And I had the research. I understood somatic wisdom. I understood all of these things. So I asked people to embody their emotions with their hands on the screen. I didn't want everybody standing up and doing big movements. I just wanted them to use their hands. I knew the body had power. I didn't understand what I was really doing until I met with hundreds of people from all over the world, because everyone was home. So I had this opportunity to meet every type of person. And it was this time that these people taught me about the contraction and the expansion, because that's what I was seeing. I was like, everybody who feels doubtful contracts, feels pain and shame. And when we feel alive and ready and we expand. So that I learned through all of the people I worked with, but I was still in question about why. How is this working so well with the hands? So then I went into the science, and I worked with a couple neurologists, and I started to understand the brain-hand connection. And I was like, oh my God, yes, the power of gesture. So that's the journey. And now I'm on a massive mission.
Talk about everything clicking together. And as you were speaking, all I could think of is how incredibly powerful this would be for children if
Yes.
we could rechange the entire curriculum for children who are emotionally intelligent, who are more kinesthetic, to see and recognize the value that they have
Right.
with the other forms of intelligence. How incredible would that be? So the fact, then I hear you say that you worked with children. I'm like, wow, that is so important, and such beautiful work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I'm talking to college students, because I want them to know their power before they get into the workforce and understand that they
Mhm.
need to connect to that gut wisdom to know what career path is right for them, what relationships are right for them. I mean, I haven't really spoken to high school students yet, but I'm thinking I need to go back maybe one step more and talk to them because that's where it all started for me, you know? So that's a huge part of the work that I'm doing is
Yeah, and
really the students more.
it also goes like the reverse because you can have people who are very, logical and they thrive in a school setting, right? Because it's easier for
Yes,
them to do the test, they do well, but
totally.
then and that makes is okay, you're a successful student, you do well, you go
Yep.
off to university, you do all those things, but if you're disregarding the
Right.
intuition piece, the body piece, the somatic piece, all of that, then you're also missing out on something
That's right.
incredible there too.
Right.
So it really is something that can serve everyone.
I know.
So I'm excited I'm so happy you're here, and we're actually going to be having you in the Spiritually Wired membership as well as a guest teacher, which I can't wait to have you come on. And you offer so many. So tell us, for someone who is listening, if they want to be in your world and learn more about what you
Yeah.
do, what's the best place? Like, where does someone start to work with you?
Yeah, amazing. So you could go to my website first and kind of check it out and look at the breadth of the work. See when I
Mhm.
speak, learn about some of these cohorts that I do, kind of just get even a deeper sense. And then in terms of like social media, I'm like on every platform. But in terms of starting with me, I do these monthly master classes and they're very inexpensive. It's $15, which I don't know. Sometimes, actually, I shouldn't say very inexpensive because
Mhm.
everybody has a different place, but I keep it really cost effective. So, because it's not about that, it's just like come in, do the work, feel the energy, feel the practice. And then from there, we talk about what's the path, what will serve you the best. So, I run 3 cohorts a year. I keep them very intimate. I don't really like to go above 8 people, so because I
Mhm.
like to it's a 90-minute session once a week for 3 months. It's a process that I take people through, very specific to a curriculum that I've created. So that's 3 times a year. And then there's a membership that I have that people can join, and then I work privately. So those are the things. And they're all under this umbrella of elevate, because that's my thing. It's like I want to elevate you into wherever it is you want to go. So you can elevate membership, you can elevate cohort, or you can elevate private.
Beautiful. Well, we're going to be linking to your information in the show notes.
Yeah.
And before we wrap it up, so I am a lover of rituals, and you've
Mm,
shared with us a really powerful tool that people can use in the moment. So when you feel the angst, you feel the fear, the
yeah.
doubt, the anxiety, all of those emotions, you've really shared a powerful tool for us to use in the moment. So it's happening, you recognize, you shift it. Do you have certain rituals, practices that you do in the morning or evening that kind of help to set the day? Do you have anything that you love to practice?
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I love is to have my feet on the ground. So
Mhm.
and not with any shoes or socks. So I take my feet, I take my socks and shoes off if I even have them on, and I stand in the ground. So either it's outside or it's on the sidewalk. I love feeling the pavement in my feet. Um, so that's really important for me to ground and to connect, is to not have anything on my feet. And I meditate. I definitely meditate, and I use the power of gesture during my meditation. So, I'll call in that source gesture, or I'll call in a couple gestures depending on how I'm feeling. And I'll just let my hands kind of move and really embody the energy that I'm feeling. So my feet are bare, my hands move, and I always play most of the time. When I'm in my home, I'll have some music going. When I'm outside, I like to hear the birds and the nature. So it is a moment, and it could be 2 minutes and it could be an hour. It like depends on, what I have going on and what I have, but I like to do it every morning. And then I do that during something that I just want to offer is that I've really trained myself, and I hope people can get into this also, is when you feel a nudge at any time. Like you could be in the middle of writing an email or like and it's just like, oh my God, you just feel like, uncomfortable or overwhelmed. Just get up. Just get up, take your shoes off, and body set for 2 minutes again. And then it shifts. It can shift our energy so quickly. So I just invite that for people because that is a ritual, that is a commitment that I do for myself multiple times throughout the day.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And I love the idea of beginning your day also. When I speak of meditation, it really is you are cultivating
Mm.
presence.
Yeah,
And so this is a space as well to cultivate that body set, the body
yeah,
connection where you can really tune into it so that later in the day, when shit happens and you
yeah,
need that moment to remember,
yeah,
you can go there easier. Sometimes it's just easier to access when you
yeah,
train yourself to allow
exactly.
it to be a part of your life.
Yep.
So good, Jen. I could continue speaking for so much longer, but I want to thank you again for being here, for sharing your incredible wisdom. We will be sharing all of the information so that if you're listening and you want to be a part of Jen's world, definitely reach out to her. So thank you again, Jen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
And I want to remind you as you're listening that you are always spiritually wired for inner peace, for love, for success, for light, for being connected to your body and being grounded. And I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to Spiritually Wired. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and leave a review. It really makes a big difference for the podcast. And if you're ready to dive deeper and join a soul-led community, come be a part of the Spiritually Wired membership. With weekly live lessons and a rich library of recorded classes, it's designed to support you every step of the way on your spiritual journey. We currently have a special offer where you can receive your first month for half the price. You can find a link in the show notes or come check it out at reneewalkerwellness.com. Until next time, remember to take some deep breaths. Remember that you are spiritually wired.